So Jonathan's been very involved in the community, and I know that he's one of these inquiring minds, want to know guys, and even though he's not involved right now in any land use decisions, he knows his codes. He's been working on understanding what there is to know about Brookhaven town codes and land use.
I'm here because John is not one of those people who takes people for granted. He's not one of those people who's running for office because he's got a hidden agenda. Because since the time I knew him as a high school student, public service was something that he did from his heart, not because it was a line on a resume.
And thank you, all of you, for being here today. Looking out across this crowd, I see the faces of so many of you who are in one way or another responsible for my being here. First and foremost, my family is here. And I would be remiss if I didn't start this out by acknowledging the love of my life and my best friend, my beautiful wife, Julie. I couldn't do this without you. I love you so much. Our incredibly amazing children, Emma and Zachary, are here today. Take a good look around, you guys. All this is for you. My mother and my stepfather are here. My father, as it turns out, is on a Carnival cruise. Yeah, really. Oh, he's right there.
He's on Skype.
I told him he ought to bring his own generator. My sisters and my sister-in-law are here. My brother and my soon-to-be brothers-in-law. My friends and co-workers, some of you who I just met today. Whether I have known you for 30 years or 30 minutes, your presence here is overwhelming for me, and I thank you. So today I am proud to announce my candidacy for Brookhaven Town Council. This is going to be an incredibly important race, in part because we were recently reminded just how consequential town government can really be. Last month, we learned what happens when public officials put patronage and politics ahead of the people that they have sworn an oath to represent. When a storm dumped 3 feet of snow on parts of this town, our leaders were asleep at the wheel. In the absence of Supervisor Romaine, Dan Panico was in charge of this town. A lot has been said about how the town council doesn't have control over the highway department, and on a normal day, that would be true. But this was not a normal day. And on this day, Dan Panico had just declared a state of emergency in this town, and his next act was to go to the highway department and tell them that he was taking over. And he even went so far as to forward their phones to town hall. So Dan Panico was in charge, and he completely failed to manage this crisis. Turns out that I know a little bit about crisis management. Besides being the father of 2 young children, I have worked all my adult life as an emergency manager for an ambulance service. And early on, one of the most important lessons that I learned is that when you are faced with an emergency, response times count. Response times count, and when this emergency struck, residents all across this town were left stranded in their homes, waiting for help that in many cases never arrived. That's unacceptable. That is unacceptable, and as I have in recent weeks, I continue to call on Supervisor Romaine to order a full investigation to this town's response to that storm and to make the results of that investigation public. To be clear, it's not just about the storm, and that is not the only reason that I'm running. I looked back on the last 10 years worth of town council campaigns, and I couldn't help but notice that nothing has changed. Year after year, council member after council member, problems, and quite frankly, the promises have remained exactly the same. The residents of this town have been patient for long enough. The residents of this town deserve a leader who will do more than promise to solve all their problems and then point fingers when nothing gets done. The residents of this town deserve somebody who will partner with them to find sustainable solutions to our problems so that those problems don't come back. When I am elected, that is what I am going to do. When I'm elected, I will work with the village of Mastic Beach to find solutions to the quality of life problems that have plagued that community for far too long. You know, one of the cardinal responsibilities of government is fairness. And that means not overburdening one community over another with some of the worst problems in our society. It just isn't right. When I am elected, I will work with the Mastic Beach Ambulance to make sure that finally, after 15 years of seeing no results from this town, they will finally have a building that suits their needs, where they don't have to park their ambulances outside in the snow and run extension cords to space heaters to keep the drugs from freezing. You're welcome. And when I'm elected, I will work with business leaders along Montauk Highway in Mastic to advocate for the kind of diversified sewer system that we all know is the only way that that community is going to reach their full potential. In Manorville, our open space is our community's most precious resource, and we need to protect it. I will work with members of the community and the Chamber of Commerce and the Pine Barrens Commission and anyone else who'll sit down at the table, and we will develop a comprehensive community-based plan that will put targeted development in the areas that will best suit our community's needs and make sure that we protect the rest of our open space for generations to come. I'm also going to work to find a suitable location for the ball fields and pocket parks and recreational facilities that our community has been demanding for years and that our children deserve. In Center Moriches and East Moriches and Eastport, I'll fight to protect the unique quality of those communities, and I'll work to revitalize our downtown areas, because revitalization means more than putting up some pretty lampposts and some garbage pails that have the town's name on them. You know, we need to take a big picture approach to this, and I will work to make sure that our community is a place where businesses want to come and thrive, where families want to come and raise a family. You know, if you've ever driven on the parking lots behind the stores in downtown Center Moriches, or driven up Berenstein Boulevard, it's kind of like being on the surface of the moon. That's all going to change. So, you know, you see every hamlet in this district has its own unique needs. So I promise that I will make it my mission to work every single day to meet those needs as this community's councilman. Before you all leave today, there's something that's real important that I want you all to understand about me and where I'm coming from. For me, this is not about politics or a political party. This is incredibly personal. At the end of the day, I'm just Emma and Zachary's dad, and I'm trying to keep a promise. On the days that my children were born, I made each of them the very same promise. And it's the same promise that parents all around the world make to their newborn children each and every day. I promised that I would love them unconditionally, and I do. And I promised that I would protect them with my life. But most of all, I promised that I would leave this world for them a better place than I found it. And that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing. So I'm asking you to join me, because I can't do this by myself. I need you to talk to your friends and talk to your neighbors, talk to anybody who will listen about this campaign and let them know why this is so incredibly important. Because together, we can get this done. So join with me, and come November, we will start to take this town back, not for a political party, but for its people and for families. I'm asking you to stand with me so that we can start on the path to leaving this community and this world a better place for all of our children. Thank you very much.